Hello there, welcome to episode 4 of Your Questions Answered. And today we're talking about inspiration, and the question was what to do when lack of inspiration hits. And I know this is a big area and people often have a lot of concerns about inspiration, and I think actually a lot of that comes down to a kind of misconception about what inspiration is and how it really works. I think people imagine that every artist kind of waits for this big flash of inspiration, this big eureka moment, and that the idea, the artwork comes to them fully formed, and then they just make it. So they wait for that idea and then they do it. And sometimes artists do get these big ideas, like the piece that you can see behind me, perhaps these pillars that I'm making that I've been talking about for months and months. I've been working on that idea did come to me in a sort of single flash of a moment of realizing what I could do. But it only came to me because I'd done the groundwork. It was because I'd been working through my sources and I kept coming back to this question. I had this kind of area, this theme that I knew I wanted to do something with, and I couldn't work out what to do with it. And it was only because I kept coming back to that question, but also allowing my mind to rest by doing other things or kind of feeding in new ideas, that I was kind of constantly shaking all those ideas up in my mind, and that's when that combination could happen and that flash could arise. So it's not to say that those flashes of what we think of as inspiration can't happen, because they do, but they happen because you're working. They don't, you don't sit on the sofa and wait for it to happen and then start. You start and then your idea happens. But more often, making art is about collecting together lots of little ideas. So you don't have to have one of these big flashes of inspiration, of what we think of as inspiration, to be able to do some artwork. You can have lots of small ideas, and even a big idea needs lots of small ideas to actually make it happen. To think, well, how am I going to make these pieces fit together? Or what am I going to do on this surface? There's a whole series of small ideas that fit together to make the bigger kind of piece. So I think my main message for you would be, if you're feeling like you're lacking inspiration and it's holding you back, then just let go of thinking you need inspiration. Just don't worry about it. It'll come when it comes. And just get on with doing something. Keep asking yourself questions about what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and what's interesting and what's not interesting, and how you could combine things in different ways. Look for little ideas. Think, well, what could I do with this? Or how could I combine two old things in a new way? Or how could I move what I've been doing on, one little step forward in a slightly new way? And yeah, there's some examples I can show you of sort of little ideas, if you like. So I had this idea about doing some collages, because ceramic work takes a long time, a really long time. And so it's nice to intersperse that with work that's faster and can be more free. So I started doing these. So here's one that I think is finished, if I can get that in the picture. And that came together pretty quickly, and it's pretty simple. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. But actually, this one was from an idea of I did an experiment with marker pen and then putting water over it so that the ink ran, and I really liked that effect, so I wanted to do it bigger. So this is a huge sheet of paper, and I was drawing on the floor with a marker pen on a stick, but the pen reacted differently, so I never followed it up. But I kept that paper and thought, I can use that for something. And this was this sort of textured piece. Oh, sorry, I'm kind of working backwards. It's hard to tell. Was from some experimental printmaking that I did last summer when we were all in lockdown, and I was finding it really difficult to focus. And the kind of quality of the print isn't good enough to share as a print, but I kept it and I can use that paper now in my collage. And then the red piece is from even probably 18 months ago, when I sort of suddenly realised I didn't have to just use pre-existing coloured papers. I could colour my own in the colours that I wanted. So that was lots of small ideas that I've then brought together into this bigger idea about collage and about exploring the sort of themes that I'm working with in the main work. And sometimes they come together quickly, and sometimes there's another one that I'm working on here, which I hate. It's horrible. It's kind of, I tried one set of ideas and it was just too literal, and I thought, no, I don't like that, cover it up. But I'm still playing around with that. So that's, if you like, where this idea of kind of getting into action to look for inspiration comes from, or sort of finding new ideas. So I'm shuffling through my papers. I've got a big stack of different papers that I can use for collage. And I'm just pulling things out and holding them around and cutting things out. And testing them to see if it works. And it's only by bringing things together or getting into action that you see what works for you. And that reminds me, actually, I found this great quote by a choreographer, American dancer and choreographer called Twyla Tharp. And she said, "I realised I would never get to the essential core of movement and dance through a cerebral process. I could prepare, order, organise, structure and edit my creativity in my head. But I couldn't think my way into a dance. To generate ideas, I had to move. It's the same if you're a painter. You can't imagine the work. You can only generate ideas when you put pencil to paper, brush to canvas, when you actually do something physical." So there's your short answer. What to do when you lack inspiration, when that hits, you have to do something physical. So have a think this week about what you can do, what questions you can ask yourself, what little ideas you can look for, how you can do that. And give me a thumbs up or a comment below if this has changed the way you think about ideas at all. And I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.